Hi and welcome back to my channel and the conversation that has got you buzzing for all the good reasons. We're discussing nutrition. I told you I was very excited, not just by your interest and every nutritionist who wrote in and said I want to be part of the conversation, but really grateful to Tetra Pak who said let's do this. And we will get to that conversation in a bit. What I do want to say is if you haven't had a chance to watch my conversation with Kate Kibara, please do. Of course, what I've got here is your comments. You are hilarious, you are insightful, but I love the fact that you had so many aha moments. You're like, watcha, I cannot eat my fruits like that? Yes, and you of mixed fruit salad, clearly you've stopped, which I love. However, I realize we must get into the conversation on family. And this is where I give you exactly 1 minute to get your notebook. Remember the last time I told you to do this and you're like, what? And now you're pausing videos. Don't do that. Get your notebook because we're going to discuss family nutrition. Because like everything else in the world, it starts at home. I mean, I always tell people empowerment seminars are great, but if you are not empowered at home, educational wise, financially, or any other way, it takes a while to do it. But if it was set right at home, it will be good. And then, of course, I'll be introducing you to my nutritionist for today. Her name is Harriet Njiru. I will not take a selfie with her because when I'm in heels and she's on bare feet, she's taller than me. It's really annoying, really is. And she is a clinical nutritionist. Now, it's important while you're getting your notebook, I say this. I look for people who are real nutritionists. We are Kenyans, Harriet.
Yes.
Everybody these days is a nutritionist.
Yeah.
You know why? Because they have a diet that they forwarded to us on WhatsApp. Talking about you, okay? Also, she's had over 13 years in the profession and her passion is family. Okay? Are you ready? Good. Harriet, welcome.
Thank you.
Let me tell you how we're going to do this.
Yes.
Family. And I'm going to talk to you. We're going to have to discuss the following.
Yes.
Babies, toddlers,
Yeah.
tweens, my daughter is 10,
Yeah.
teens, mom, dad, and then of course, my folks. Okay?
Yeah.
So we're staying in family.
Yes.
I need to have my coffee, so I'm going to set you up, and then I'm going to sip coffee and watch you, because I can tell you're ready for me. Mtoto lazima anone ajikate mara tatu. Question number 1A. Question number 2B. 1B. Chakula ya daddy. C. Maliza.
Yeah.
Maliza. And the last one. She's a fussy eater. He's a fussy eater.
Yeah.
Let's start with mtoto lazima anone ajikate mara tatu. Where did that come from?
Caroline, this is funny. We see it all the time. And sometimes it's become like a place to judge whether a mother is good or bad. Because if my baby is not chubby, if the hands are not having three layers,
and
the
rolls.
neck is not having 3 layers, then people start looking at me like, hey, huyu mtoto hanyonyangi. Yeah, and they want to judge that, to use that to judge my parenting or how I'm breastfeeding this baby.
Okay.
But this is something that has come from the people that have gone ahead of us, our parents, the older moms, and more so our nannies.
Oh,
you know?
That is where I first heard it. Mtoto lazima anone ajikate mara tatu. Hapa.
Yeah, because most of the time they've been to many homes, they've collected all these things. Some of them have their own children, and because they are not educated or they are not exposed to the nutritionist aspect, to them a chubby baby is a healthy baby. And so as a mom, we have to be very careful. What are you chasing after? Are you chasing at how the child looks like or the nutrition aspects? Because we can have you very fat, chubby, but there is a deficiency in you.
True.
Yeah. And on the other side, then we are bordering between overweight. Let me tell you something, Caroline. For a long time in Kenya and in Africa, we have spoken about wasting, stunting. But right now, statistics have it that our population, 4% of children under the age of 5, they are overweight. So as we chase mtoto lazima anone, then we are ending up with overweight babies. We are setting them overweight, and so they will The graph will keep overweight. There'll be overweight twins. There'll be overweight teenagers.
Oh, gosh.
And therefore, when we are looking at this, then it's a myth that we have to demystify.
Okay.
It's not about how big and chubby the baby is. Is the child breastfeeding well? Are they having enough nutrition? Are you taking them for weight growth monitoring every month? That is where you're able to check on the curve from the weight where they were born.
Yes.
How is the curve? So if the curve is moving on well, regardless of whether akona parts tatu ama anagrow tu na kamoja, then you're comfortable because there is weight gain.
Okay.
And they are within the normal weight range that is expected for their age.
So tell me, I'm sure that when this baby goes to see the pediatrician must say something.
Yes.
What is it about us moms, na munatuangalia vibaya, we can see? What is it about us that we are resistant to the idea that the pediatrician, the doctor could say, hey, let's watch this? What is it?
Because of what? Our mentality. Because you've put it in your mind, my baby is good. People that are seeing your baby, they're saying, oh, umelea vizuri. The baby is chubby. You know? In Kikuyu, we say, let the baby suckle with the two mashavu, you know? Yes, suck and become big.
Okay.
So now getting that out of your mind, when the pediatrician, when the nutritionist, when the nurses, because there are people who just will go to the ordinary MCH. When the nurses are raising alarm and they're telling you, this child, the trend weight is not good, then you have to listen because they are the ones with the knowledge.
True.
Yeah.
They know. But that brings me to something else that I didn't put in your set questions. But this mentality, and that's what you're saying, we can't seem to get rid of it because it was given to us and then we carried forward.
Yes.
Wacha mwanaume aolewe. The minute he gets married, na jijaze, and we're like, he's being looked after.
Yes.
Kumbe. We're sending him to an early grave.
Yes, we are. I mean, we many times have looked at people whose husbands have remained trim, and we are like, they're not cooking for you. How picky we? They're not cooking for you, you know. Because it's the same thing in the community. I listen to weddings and they're told, hey, from today,
right there,
we don't want to see him looking
like
the way he looks. But we have to be conscious about how we look.
But you know what happens?
Yeah.
He hits 40.
Yes.
We have a meeting with him and the doctor, and now we cut everything. I mean, the poor man is literally, he's told no to everything. Because that's what happens.
Yes.
Literally, fast forward 10 years, 5 years down the line, and we literally have to monitor not just our children but our husbands.
Yes, we do.
Yes.
And it's the same thing. Remember when we started, when you said "Ee chakula ni ya daddy," because what do we do?
That was 1B. Twende chakula ya daddy.
That is what brings the kitambi and the big thing, because the minute I cook chicken, the best pieces, the drumstick, you know, the breast,
yes,
we put it aside for daddy. In most homes, they even have that hot pot that is for daddy. They clock it and put it there. Everybody now shares the wings, you know, and the parts that are seemed like...
In our home, and mom, imagine she showed me picture hapa. Ngingo was ours.
Yes.
Yes.
That is what happens. So what we are setting, what we are teaching these husbands when they come, we start living with them. So they start eating the best. In the morning, if there are 2 eggs and I have to choose, then I give it to the husband instead of the children.
But you know, you and I are about to get stones thrown at us.
Yes.
Because for some reason, that has been the idea, and then it forms a very strange relationship with food in general.
Yes, it does.
In general. Because now I think what happens is, as you get older and of course you get financially independent, now you want the stuff you could never have.
Absolutely.
Oh, yes.
What I grew up not having,
yes,
I want to revenge in my adulthood.
And I want it double.
I want it double.
Because I want to make up for lost time.
Yes.
So let's also...
And it applies for you as an adult and for the children. Remember, we are the people that are working hard. We are not available. Yeah, as parents, some of us are busy. We are only available on a Sunday. Or when you're coming home, you think, oh, if I pass through the driveway, oh my goodness, if there's something that has messed us up, the drive-throughs. Yes. So I just drive through and off I go home with my junk.
With the junk, yes.
And the children see me, they are happy. So I'm using food to make up for the time I was not there.
Food is love. Food is love.
That is what we are teaching our children, that it shouldn't be like that. Food is like air. It's like the air we breathe. We don't tell them, if you breathe today, I will give you a treat tomorrow. No.
Okay, you're right.
Yeah. You don't say, if you breathe today, I will give you tomorrow a treat. So food is a necessity for us, and we have to treat it for what it is. I'm not saying no to the occasional treats.
Oh, treats are great,
Treats
but
are
it
great.
cannot be
It cannot
the norm.
be the norm. It cannot be how we win over our children. It cannot be how we want them to respond to us, that mommy will come with takeaway, or if we are good, then we will be bought this and this in terms of food. There are better ways to reward children. And so the mentality that we put, then the kids grow up, and we grew up knowing, because you remember chapati was for Christmas. So we grew up knowing that when there is an occasion or when I can afford it, then I have to go for something I have not eaten before.
But also, I remember we are in the festive season, my sister and I used to gorge to a point where we were sick because we knew we wouldn't see it.
Yes.
And actually, you're right. This deny does not create a very healthy relationship with food.
Yes.
It doesn't.
It doesn't. And so we have to change, even as parents, as we talk about families, how is the food concept? Do our children understand? Because right from the house, I'm now a nutritionist, so I understand there are some foods, no matter how much my body craves for it, I can't have it.
Of course.
Yeah, because the aftermath will not be good. So what we raise our children giving them and how they understand food. Food is healthy, it helps you grow, it gives you energy, it helps you fight infection. They need to understand food for what it is, not for the excitement it can bring.
Can I tell you what I'm getting out of this? Is that we need to actually talk about food.
Yes, we do.
Properly. Not because our conversations are, and by the way, my marking scheme is already done. Story ya mtoto anone amejikata mara tatu, hiyo tumemaliza.
Yeah.
We're done. Chakula ya daddy, please, go and demystify that thing at home, but you cannot do this anymore. Because, ladies, here's the truth. You love him, but you know, he turns 40 and you literally, you're cooking for him separately because he's the brown rice guy, he's this. Because what have we done over 10 years? Destroyed his system. Okay? Yes. So we've got to be smart about that. Food is love. There's other ways to show love, but we should not do this thing. And you know why my eyebrows went up when we talked about food is love? Every time you're heartbroken, think about what happens. We kind of eat our problems.
Yes.
So, and I remember this one for me. When I used to live in Westlands, I would order from the China plate in Westlands. And for me, it was always the spicy garlic noodles because I like my chili. I mean, if we're not crying, it is not food. But to fill the hole, and everybody talks about comfort food.
Yes.
And women like to have that joke about when you're heartbroken, have ice cream. But it's true. Our relationship with food is so messed up.
It's so messed up. We look at food that it can bring a temporary relief. We do not look at the end product, the nutrients that are coming out of it.
Or what it's doing to us.
Yes, so if I'm having a bad day, I'm like, oh, an ice cream will cheer me up.
Yes.
If I'm having a bad day, oh, let me go and do a pizza. Let me go take some chicken.
Right.
You know, let me go do this.
Yeah.
But that is the day you really need to think about other things, because what happens, it gives you a temporary high.
It does.
And then it brings you down.
It brings you right down.
So,
brings you right down.
Yeah.
So please think through food is love. However, I want to talk about maliza. Maliza. Kwanza utoke hapa mpaka umalize. And I know, did I tell you that we're going to have an open conversation about food? Let's do this. Okay. So, if there's one thing I learned, even as I listened to Kate in our previous conversation, is that your body knows what it needs and asks for it.
Yes, it does.
But the other truth is, obviously we believe children are to be seen and not heard. But our kids have better senses with their body and a better relationship than we do. Because of course we flattened ours a long time ago. We don't listen even to the small voice in the back of our heads. What do we do about Maliza culture? It is a culture.
It
Maliza.
Is. It is. You know, many times, Caroline, when we are seeing moms and they are frustrated, muyu mtoto hamalizangi chakula. No matter
Maybe
what
we need
I
to serve
give,
enough.
They don't. Yes, we need to serve enough, and children grow.
Okay.
If you start weaning your baby today, they'll probably take 3 tablespoons of something. You know, 1 tablespoon, 2 tablespoons, 3 tablespoons. They'll eventually get to such a size of a cup.
Yes.
You know, they will get to a bigger bowl. So you have to monitor the growth of the child, the quantity, because you're able to tell we are graduating from this to this. So we can then get to a point where this bowl is permanently, you have to finish this, you know? And most of the time it is more than they require. As children grow, I have a 2-year-old. She says, Mommy, nimeshiba. I don't want to eat. But we want to force them to finish the food. Sometimes they will eat and puke.
You know, the reason I sighed,
they bring all the food down.
And I think for the first time I'm going to share a picture on this particular conversation of my 2-year-old son. There's a point where he had this belly. We used to call him chairman. We don't call him chairman anymore. And he's sitting almost lethargic,
helpless,
helpless, you know, because and you know they like, oh my girls loved him. Mtoto anapenda chakula.
That's when, you know, meals time has turned to the oppressor's time. Children don't like meals time anymore because it's time to be told maliza, maliza. And you know, some of us don't even give them a break. I mean, Caroline, when you're eating your food, you take a break.
We take a break.
You're chewing. Yes. But the children, fungua mdomo, fungua mdomo, fungua mdomo. They don't even have time to chew this food properly. And we are complaining they have constipation, you know, they have stomach upsets.
Hakuli.
We have to learn to treat them like human beings.
Actually, as a nutritionist, I want you to show me the size of the human stomach. Because I remember the first time I was shown, I was like, what?
It's not as big.
It's a
fist. Yeah, it's a fist size.
This is your stomach.
Actually the fist, and then it expands, you know?
Yes.
What, as you put food in, it's elastic.
Yes.
So it gets to its limit.
Yes.
But if we keep pressing it, then it keeps going. It keeps going until it can't go anymore.
And then, very much like patia dadi chakula, at about 40, what do? We go and have a gastric bypass too? Cut the same stomach. Because we expanded to a point where we have to limit how much it can take so that we can actually reduce our weight.
Yes. And so we have to understand something, Caroline. Good nutrition, healthy eating is not about the quantity. That is where the mentality of Maliza will go away.
Tweet! It's not
about the quantity.
It's the quality.
It's the quality of food. How calorie dense is your meal?
Yes.
What varieties are in that meal? You know, how often are you eating in a day? Because you can have small, frequent meals of this size, but you can have one big one that you won't even finish and will take forever to digest because there is no even space for digestion.
There you go.
Yeah. So we have to know it's not about the quantity, the quality of the food. You can eat too much food. In fact, the Maliza, we keep saying Maliza. Most of it, you find it's just full of starches, you know, carbohydrates.
And hence, you're already topped up.
You're already topped up. So you have a lot of food in your stomach, but less calories and nutrients.
But I want to go into a space that you mentioned, and I'm worried about it.
Yes.
As schools go back in January, I'm made to believe that it is actually a recorded statistic that many children leave home in the morning without breakfast.
Yes, it is. Researches have been done.
Basic, something in their stomachs.
Yes, local companies have done studies, and it's shocking how many children leave their homes without breakfast in the morning.
Even a cup of milk.
Even a cup of milk. And you know what we do as parents? We are like, oh, I packed it. But by the time that you know, it's the early waking up, the traffic jam in Nairobi, the walking distance that they have to do. So the bus is there at 5, and so you slept late. At 5, the child is there. They have not had enough sleep, so they can't even finish their breakfast. You decide to pack for them. They get to the bus. They are playing with their classmates. They have no time to take breakfast. So it's about the schedules. It is shocking, and that is why you find, if you ask the teachers. By the second lesson, kids are sleeping. It's not just about sleep. There's nothing in their stomachs. They're hungry. They can't put up until snack time. They are lucky to have snack at 10. If they're not lucky, they have to wait until lunchtime. So we have to rethink our way of doing things, because breakfast is the most important meal. And not just kids. How many times are adults leaving homes without their breakfast?
I know this because of my radio career. Remember, I was up at 4.
Yeah.
Left home by 5, probably in the studio 15 minutes later, because I still lived very close to the station. And what would happen, obviously, is that obviously I'd take the coffee fix. You know, by the time we do the news at 6 a.m., coffee. And then by about 8:30, I can feel myself dipping.
Yes.
And I know I used to have a cup an hour.
Yes.
But what happened then is that we started, and I remember it was me, Kara, Rodola, and Nyambane. We started sending out for sugar fixes. So we were the guys who did the donuts.
Yeah.
Because obviously, since we didn't have breakfast, what happened is slowly we're craving something else, but we need the energy. Because nobody tells you this, but speaking for 4 hours is the most tiring thing in the world.
Yes, it is.
It is. And we lived on rubbish. But for a little while there, and I remember there was a time Carol Dole and I looked at each other and we were like, man, and we just kind of stopped flat. But here's the thing, we didn't know what to do.
You didn't plan the night before.
No, but also we were like, so what do we do?
Yeah, you have to plan, number one.
Yes.
And you have one at the back of your mind, have it. Breakfast is the most important meal of the day. I say, especially for children, how much breakfast they take, how much dinner they take, you have control over. Once they are out in school, they can only tell you they finished the food.
This is also true.
Yeah, because most of them, my sons, they're running to the playground. So they will pick something very quick, very small, take and go and play. By the time you're getting to the parking lot at 4, Mommy, we are hungry. Mommy, we are hungry. Because they didn't eat anything. So you have control over breakfast. You have control over dinner. So you have to plan for it the night prior.
That I agree.
Wake up early. Fix it. Have it. If you have to cool the tea, I make the tea very cold. You know, just some warmth. So that they can take it. In case you're running late, then it's not hot. They're not like struggling to take the tea.
My thing is, and I didn't want to say this and then get flack, huh? My thing is milk. My thing is milk. If they do nothing else, milk. But of course I'm waiting for the trolls to come after me. But you're a nutritionist.
Yes.
Am I failing or am I on point?
Well, you're on point. Oh, you know, milk is a healthy diet. It's actually balanced. If you look
I hear it's a full meal in a glass.
It's a full meal in a glass.
Okay.
And it doesn't need a lot of things for you to do. Just pour it out, take and drink. At least the child did not leave the house on an empty stomach. It has calories, it has carbohydrate, it has got protein.
It has protein.
Yes, it has calcium, it has iron. We have a bit of B vitamins, B6, B12. And there you are. You have a start of the day. And the proteins are dense. You know, kids are growing.
Yes.
So in a cup, actually, let me just check, just confirm my figures.
Make me feel good.
Make you feel good. Actually, a cup of milk, which is almost this size, you know, you're able to get a reasonable amount of calories.
Tell me.
You're able to get over 10% of the required daily allowance for most of the nutrients, the protein, the carbohydrates.
Oh, okay.
So you kickstart your day, you're already 10% and over in most of the nutrients.
Wow.
So by the time you get your next meal, then you're able to do it.
Yes.
And most of the time, the milk, it's something they can also take to school. In case they feel hungry,
yes,
they can rip it in the school bus. They can take it at break time. But you have no excuse for taking children to school
with an empty stomach.
Yeah.
So here's the other thing that worries me.
Yes.
And you and I are doing this. So we are very good with our babies. Even with our toddlers, you know, we're still part of, you know, chasing them around. Ukula wakitembea.
Yes.
By the way, I hate that thing. People must sit down to eat.
You know, that's the same thing we are saying. The oppressor has come. Make meal time interesting.
Yes.
Let us sit. You may not have a table in your house like this,
yes,
but sit somewhere. There's a sitting space in your house.
There's got to be.
Yeah, and that is one of the things that will make sure that the children enjoy eating. They look forward. I look forward to dinner because I know it's the time everybody gathers at the table.
Yes.
So it's something to look forward to. Even if you had no plans of eating, you
and it's small things, like I've seen it with my kids. I want my plate, because they have a plate. Where's my cup? That's my chair. You're sitting on my chair. Oh, for heaven's sake, can we do this? But because it is part of the ritual, I indulge it.
Yes.
I indulge it.
And they are happy. You're happy they eat.
Exactly. So we've talked about our toddlers. You know, we're still walking around with a spoon. And then my daughter's 10. Let me tell you, during COVID, this child has eaten and grown. and you know, I look at her sometimes, I'm like, what? Because every time I buy leggings, whatever, I look at her the next time and they're floating. I'm like, we shall cut them into shorts. Because I'm so tired. I'm so tired. But here's the thing I do not know. because I know without a doubt, because we're having this conversation, she's going into, she's pre-puberty into puberty.
Yes.
And I'm telling you that body changes. I mean, I've seen my nieces, you know, you don't see them for 3 months and then you see them again, you're like,
what happened here?
I know. And I'm like, and my friend keeps telling me, and of course they get a little taller and they keep measuring themselves against us. What should we be very conscious of as we raise our pre-teens, our tweens, and our teens? Because, you know, every time conversations about nutrition are had, they're had on two ends of the scale.
Yes.
Us, and then the babies. It's like in between, mujipange. I don't know what's going on there.
Yes.
Yes.
And if you're not careful, then if you're not careful about their nutrition at that point, remember they are now learning to say no sometimes to you. They're sometimes trying to prove a point to you. And they're also trying to pick up trends, you know, trying to say this is not good, this is not good. And so it has to be the foundation you laid. And then we are building on it by saying you still need your vegetables, you still need your fruits. You still need your carbohydrates. You still need to eat more often because there is growth happening here. That is the time their height is shooting. You talked about them just growing big.
And then they're sleeping again. Eh?
Yes, we need to compensate for that growth and provide nutrients for the growth at that phase.
Can I ask you something?
Yes.
It just occurred to me. I once read about growing pains. You know, they tell you that my legs are hurting, and I hear it's real. They're growing.
Yes, they're stretching. The muscles are stretching. The bones are growing. You know, but most of us would feel them. But if bones are growing,
we need
milk.
But you know calcium. That by the time our kids are like 5 years old, 6 years old, we stop acting like they need their milk. And then I've got Nduko, 10 years old. And I'm sure one of the things we probably say to 10-year-olds, 11-year-olds, why are you drinking milk? You're not a baby.
That's it.
No, but
that
do we
happens.
Say that?
We say that all the time.
Thank you.
Many teenagers are not taking milk because we feel like it's a loss to them. But they need it. The bones need the calcium. They need their proteins for growth. They need the levels of iron that is in there. And also, like we said, it is a snack. You know, for me, it should be like a snack most of the time because we are also moving them from a snack being something like juice, sweet, being very sugary things. No. Milk is safe for you.
Yes.
And when we know that they need it, then we will not say niya watoto. It will be incorporated in their diet.
So from today, this story that once your child hits 7, you know, you can't have milk, you're not the baby. Milk is for the baby in the house.
Yeah.
Because that's how we talk. But then again, we only know what we know.
We only know what we know.
We only know what we know.
And not just them, even the elderly people. Even you and I, Caroline.
Okay, we found out the hard way. Because, you know, I mean, no, you're not where I am. We get to a place, my friends in your 40s, we ache, we hurt a little, and after a while we realize, let's stop joking.
Yes.
So we take our diet seriously, our water intake seriously.
Yes.
We also take our exercise seriously because we realize our bones are not what they used to be. And then here's the other thing, and I'm sorry to say this, then mom has her own diet.
Yeah.
That doesn't look like everybody else's. Kuna chakula sasa ya mami. Yeah, because mom's food is steamed, it's what. I mean, what do we do about this? Because I think the messages we're also sending and the signals we're sending are crazy at home.
We are mixing the kids up. They know there's daddy's spot, there's mommy's spot,
and then
theirs. And if you have an under 5, theirs looks totally different.
Yes.
For them, then we are trying to put something that is not healthy. As parents, we must lead by example. Yes. Kids pick by what they learn. Sometimes they would say, okay, when I'm older, I'll eat like mommy eats.
Yes.
So if you want to go vegetarian, if you want to take in a lot of vegetables, a lot of fruits, your smoothies, you know, we are working with all these smoothies. Make them even for the children. Let them learn and grow up that way. The other thing that we need to also do is involve the children. Yeah? Yes. Be good examples with what we are doing. As much as possible, I try to make my diet, like, I don't enjoy cooking many pots, Caroline. So I need to modify the family meal so that it suits all of us.
Yes.
Involve them. So that, especially the teens, where we were at, if you don't involve them and it's just mommy cooking this, cooking that, then they look at you, they're like,
I'm not hungry today.
I'm not hungry today. But we need to also, even as early as they can be able to shop, from the shopping to planning the 2-week meal plan, to deciding this is what we will cook today. Sometimes they want a change. You can bend the rules, they want a change. But when you realize that food is not being eaten the right way in your home, you have to go back and ask yourself, what am I not doing right?
Okay.
So we lead by example, because what we are eating is what the children will pick.
Wow.
Yeah. So if we are eating healthy, because as moms, I mean, we are the CEOs in the kitchen.
Yes, we are.
So the choices we make, they have to be healthy for everybody.
I guess, I want to talk about our parents.
Yes.
Because a lot of us, and I always say this, we're in-betweeners. So at my point in life, I've got my children, but I'm also a very big caregiver.
Yes.
To my parents. And a lot of us act like, oh, well, there's no supermarket near. What do we do about that? And I'm always like, UHT. But I need to know what your sentiments are on long life milk. And it's in front of you as well.
Well, long life milk is processed milk.
Okay.
And we have different methods of processing milk. Remember the discussion on raw milk,
yes.
Loose milk.
Loose milk.
We have different processes of milk. So long life milk for a long time has been misinterpreted.
Yes.
Because we think, oh, how comes this milk stays for 6 months without getting spoiled?
Oh, is that our problem?
Yeah, that's our problem.
I've never understood what that was about.
I sit with moms every other day. You're trying to talk to them about milk, and they're like, no, that one's 6 months. But we need to understand it is the processing. There are different ways of processing. Okay. So what happens with long life milk, it is passed in heat.
Yes.
And heated up. Like heated up.
Fast.
Yes. 135 degrees up, then held for 4 seconds. And during those 4 seconds and the heating process, all the microorganisms are broken. They are killed.
Yes.
Every pathogen is killed. And then it's cooled down.
Okay.
And packaged. So there is no chemical addition.
So our issue is it can last.
The problem is, why is it lasting?
Like,
and so that is the process.
I used to wonder, UHT milk makes perfect sense for me. Perfect sense.
Yeah.
Because like if I've lost both my grandmothers, but when you take shopping, that's what we took. Yeah. Because it means if we're seeing you again in a month, we know you're sorted.
Yes, you are.
Yes, there's no fridge, there's no nothing. Shida to ni hayozi. Okay, we also need to get serious, guys. Even honey doesn't go bad. We also need to get serious.
And that is the main thing. There is chemical, there is all this. But you need to understand, it's the processing. The other thing is the packaging. How is it packaged?
Yes.
This packet right here has got 6 layers that are able to make sure that when the milk, the process is complete and it is packed inside, no air can get in. No water can get in, no pathogens can get in unless you voluntarily open it.
I mean, unless
you open it on your own, and therefore with proper storage. After you open it, then you have to make sure you use it and finish
it, or you store it properly. Yes.
And so for me, I find it actually easy to work with.
Who are you telling? You see, I'm converted. I was worried about you guys, and because maybe sometimes you're like, Caroline, on to church. I thought the nutritionist should tell you.
Yes. Yeah. Because it doesn't require a lot of things to do. Depending on the temperature or how you like it, you can just open it, put in the cup, feed it direct to the baby.
Of course.
You have something like this, just put in the straw, take it.
And we go.
Contamination rates are reduced.
Of course.
You're not worried that the milk, in the process of boiling it in the house, it will get spoiled. So it is safe.
It is safe. But it's also, and I need to say this, it's convenient.
It is convenient.
It is convenient, but it's safe, it is clean. And I know I said this before, but I was like, the nutritionist should tell you. The last thing I want to talk about with you is the fussy eater. Allow me to give you context.
Yeah.
Fussy eaters seem to exist on the right-hand side of Uhuru Highway. From Mada, Nairobi West, South C na kuendelea mpaka Embakasi, hakuna mtu anaitwa fussy eater. What is a fussy eater? Are we creating these issues? We're on Facebook, so I know they're going to start just like, how dare you, please. Kujeni vile mnakuja. Niko na nutritionist.
Well, fussy eaters,
Uh-huh.
for me, I believe we are the ones that create them.
Especially as moms.
As moms.
Yes.
Because kids pick up what we say. If today I'm talking like, oh, I don't eat this, I don't like this, I like it like this, I like it like this, the children will pick it up. Now, when they start showing signs of fussiness, because research has shown that at some point between 1 year and 5 years, kids will develop fussy eating habits. So when they start showing fussy eating habits, how do we take it as moms? Do we amplify it? Because if I start saying, oh, my child doesn't like this and this, I have rubber stamped it. So they have a right to keep fussing around.
Guilty as charged.
Yes.
No, guilty as charged, and I'll tell you why. Nduku's food does not touch each other. It doesn't. Her rice cannot touch her peas and cannot touch her stew. She'll eat it, but she eats them individually.
You see?
Ebu try and give her pilau. What's that?
So you created it.
And no, I was like, so long as she eats, let her do her thing.
Yes.
So now here we are, I don't know how many years later, and still her food does not touch each other.
So you have to really like...
not amplify
it. Talk to them. Let them understand. All this food mixes up in the stomach. You know, this has its own nutrition value. You know, the minute they understand that they are taking it for the nutrition value.
Yes.
Sometimes it doesn't even taste good. But how do we make it look better? You know, the setup
makes you strong.
Cut into nice pieces. Then they
obviously, I learned
look
baby
good.
number 3. Baby number 3 eats everything.
No, you should get to baby number 3. Everything is out of the window. And so they better eat or not eat.
Really? Yeah, because with Kimeo, I find that I'm not doing this. Because with Nduko, I amplified it.
Yes.
So to this day, honestly, her food does not touch one another. It's like here, here, here. And I'm like, so long as you eat. And I used to tell people, she'll go and visit a friend's place and say, oh, incidentally, when you're serving her, like when you've got spaghetti and he's got a beautiful bolognese sauce, guess who cannot have the bolognese sauce on top of her spaghetti?
Nduko. So you put it on the side.
And
that is the problem.
That is the amplification.
The amplification.
I'm laughing at myself and I hope you're laughing at yourself too.
Yes. So how do we treat the fussy eaters? Let them understand why they are eating. Let's be consistent. If they don't want this particular food, try to introduce it together with the food that they like.
There you go.
All at a different time. Try to eat it with them.
With them.
That way they know, oh, even mommy eats it. Mommy likes it. It's yummy, you know. So that way they are going to develop that eating habit. Yeah.
Actually, I've noticed that sometimes they will not eat something, and the minute I serve it, it is picked from my plate. Because apparently what is on my plate is great. And I'm like, no. So I'll serve it. And the minute it's on my plate, I want some. I'm always like...
But they didn't want it. So it's just a matter of how do you handle it? When you see it, how do you handle it?
My big takeout, and I have to thank you for your time, is that as my daughter, your preteen, your teen grows, this idea that they can't have milk because they're no longer babies is silly. Because if there's one thing I am watching, is that everything she was doing as she grew, those first 3 years, 4 years, it's happening again. The longer sleeping, I'm like, how long can you sleep for heaven's sake? But I mentally I get it. She's growing, so she's sleeping more again.
Yes.
She's eating, but I've also got to watch what she's eating. Because also, as a girl, and maybe one day we'll have a conversation about this, I have to be very conscious about how much junk, because I can see it in her skin. And, you know, as a grown woman now, I know. I can tell when my skin reacts to how I have been eating.
Yes.
But milk is important, not just for my 2-year-old, but for my 10-year-old, and in the case of my nephew, my 16-year-old.
Yeah.
And also for my parents.
Yes, it is.
Thank you.
Across board.
Thank you. We have gone from mtoto anone ajikate mara tatu to milk must be part of our diet.
Yes.
And we cannot deny it to our children who are over the age of 3 or 4. We're doing them a disservice. And I'm not going to talk to you about long life. Touch your story like mbona haiozi. Really? Technology has ensured that it doesn't go bad. Please comment. Give us your feedback. Disagree with us. We'll still be back. And her name is Harriet. But we'll still take a selfie together. I'll stand on a stool. Thank you. for sticking with us, and thank you for coming.
Welcome.
And Tetra Pak, thank you for joining me on this amazing conversation, because I knew I wanted to have it, but I didn't know how. Now I know. Thank you.